Today is the second day of the new year, and I'm going to share something a little more personal than I have before. And before you get too excited, it's not the link to my OnlyFans. You can find that on my Instagram. That link's in the description. What I am going to share is my own weight loss success story. It's the journey that changed my life, and it taught me how to balance diet and exercise while also transforming my mindset. But before I get to the shifts in mindset that made it all happen, I'm going to talk a bit about how I changed my lifestyle with nutrition and with exercise. So let's rewind to a few years ago. This guy, he was not in good space. I was depressed about my weight. I felt uncomfortable all the time. I used to sweat buckets just walking up a flight of stairs, and the smallest activities were painful. Cutting my toenails was difficult and painful. Needless to say, I was unhappy. The problem was that my unhappiness led me to eat constantly. I loved food. I still love food. But at that point, I was using it as a crutch, an escape from the realities of life. It's like I was trying to hide away behind layers of fat. But once I got into my mind to lose weight, I went through the stage where I jumped from one fad diet to another. And I started working out like crazy one week, but then did absolutely nothing the next week because I was super sore and often just burned out. It was exhausting. I lost very little weight, and any weight I did lose seemed to creep back quite quickly. So all of this was nothing new though. I've struggled with weight loss and weight gain for most of my life. First time I saw my abs in the mirror, I was 35 years old. And I said that day that I would never go back to being a fatty. Not even 3 years later, I was 30 kilograms or about 60 pounds overweight. Now I used to think that exercise was what made you lose weight, because over the years, in order to lose weight, all I had to do was a load of cardio and I would lose weight. The funny thing is that as you age, your body tends to age too. So at the age of 38, doing more exercise just didn't have the same effect on my weight that it did in my 20s. It was a somewhat rude awakening for me. And eventually, after a lot of research and reading and hard conversations with myself, I concluded that if I was going to make any real progress, I had to focus on more than just exercise. I needed to get my diet sorted out, and not just that, I needed to address my mindset. Because without fixing that, I'd stay stuck in the same cycle that I had been in my entire adult life. So as I say, I knew diet was important and needed a lot of my attention. So one of my first steps was understanding nutrition. I learned the importance of macronutrient balanced meals, lean proteins, healthy fats, and the right kind of carbs. I went hard into things like meal prepping and calorie counting. I tried mindful eating, but to be honest, I still haven't found that as easily accessible as I would like. Some people swear by it, and I can see how it is supposed to work. It just hasn't worked very well for me. It did help with identifying my fullness cues, so it definitely wasn't a waste of time. But otherwise, it was the little things that really did wonders, like swapping out sugary soda for sparkling water. I think somehow it's the simplest little changes that we make that end up being the most powerful changes in the long run. Simply because they're the easiest to implement and the easiest to keep consistent with. Which is why I love walking. When it comes to exercise, intense cardio or high impact exercises can be very tough on your body. I believe that in the beginning of a weight loss program, you should keep your exertion to only what's necessary, not the maximum level you think your body can handle. And this is where most people end up overeating. They think, I just ran for 20 minutes. I can eat this entire burger-topped pizza bagel. Is that a thing? I don't know. Who knows? Just a part of this is that cardio just doesn't really burn that many calories. You would probably be depressed if you knew how long you had to run in order to cancel out an entire pizza. So anyway, I digress. I finally found a routine that fit my schedule, and kept me motivated. Initially, instead of punishing myself at the gym, I discovered activities that I actually enjoyed. Walking with my headphones in, listening to music or podcast, audiobooks, whatever. It wasn't about intensity and perfection, it was about consistency. I was able to be super consistent with my walking because I loved doing it. I mean, I used to wake up at 5 a.m. 6 days a week to go walking. It's not a chore, although that did depend on whether or not I had slept well the night before. But I'd walk for about 90 minutes, and I loved every second of those walks. For the longest time, I used to think I had to go all out 24/7, but learning what I did about nutrition had driven me to learn more about the other side of the equation, the exercise part. And while I loved walking, I knew that it wasn't enough for me. So after I'd been walking consistently for about 8 months, I started going to the gym to do some resistance training, or as most bros prefer, lifting, bro. And as it turns out, I love lifting. There is something special about just picking up heavy things and then putting them down again. It makes me happy. Anyway, I was still walking. It took me about 35 minutes to walk to the gym, about 40 minutes to walk home afterwards. And on rest days, I just do my usual 90-minute walks. Nowadays, I still walk, but my lifestyle has changed somewhat significantly now that I have a child. I still go for as many walks as I can, but I have other responsibilities that need my attention. This doesn't mean that I don't exercise properly. I get up at 4 a.m. and I'm at the gym by 5 a.m. I just end up doing a little more walking on the treadmill. And most days, I also do some short bursts of high intensity running on the treadmill. I've had to fine tune my workouts to be more effective with the time that I have, and setting realistic goals helped me see the progress I was looking for without burning out. One of the most important things to remember is that there's no silver bullet for weight loss. It's always going to be a process characterized by combining a collection of elements to achieve the results you're looking for. Diet and exercise are just two elements. The real game-changing element for me was mindset, as I've already said. Now, I started with self-compassion. It sounds cheesy, but not being an absolute dick to yourself is a huge deal. It makes so much difference. Just give it a try. But then I also had to tackle negative self-talk, which was a bitch and still is a bitch. Every time I caught myself thinking, "You're a fat bastard," I'd cry a little bit on the inside, and then I would replace it with something more positive, like, "You're not where you want to be yet, but you're making progress." This was surprisingly difficult to do. Over time and with a lot of practice, I got better, but I'm human, so I still have to keep practicing. And then there was self-belief. If you don't believe in yourself, then you're making it infinitely harder for yourself. Nobody can lose the weight for you. It's up to you to put in the work. But if you don't believe you can do it, then you won't. It's as simple as that. Believe that you can do it, and absolutely nothing can stand in your way. Then there was the one I didn't really think would work, but it actually worked like magic. It might sound a little woo-woo, but visualization was a huge help. I kept a journal and wrote down everything that would go through my head. But I'd also visualize where I wanted to be and what I wanted to look like. Now this gave me a goalpost to aim for. Maybe I suppose it was more like a target I could hit towards. Anyway, it kept me focused, and when I was struggling, reading the journal reminded me why I started in the first place. And of course, where I was headed. And I really can't stress enough how powerful having a strong support network is. Having a community of people to help you is like a superpower, a really dull and unexciting superpower. But it works for weight loss. And I opened up to my family and my friends about what I wanted to achieve. Their encouragement and accountability helped me to get through so many of the tough days. And my partner is honestly the reason I sit here pontificating before you. Without her support, without her exceptional cooking skills, without her lectures, I probably would have given up 700 times over. To this day, she is my biggest cheerleader and my strongest supporter. The point I'm trying to make is that having a community of supportive people will make your weight loss experience much less challenging. And I think in most cases, it'll make it much, much easier. It doesn't have to be a team of people. It just takes one to make all the difference. If you can find someone who will support you and help you through the tough days, there's no reason for you to fail. There will be tough days. If you have that person, you won't feel so alone in your struggle. In the end, it was balancing my diet, exercise, and a positive mindset that helped me escape the cycle of yo-yo dieting and poor choices. I didn't just lose weight though. I gained confidence, a lot more confidence, and I built habits that have helped me to keep the weight off long term. I'm stronger now than I ever was in my 20s and 30s. I have more drive to accomplish my goals, and I'm motivated to help other people more than I ever wanted to in the past. I eat more healthily, and I have much more energy to spend chasing and playing with my little munchkin. It's still a process of learning for me. I know that I don't have all the answers, but I'm happy to go in search of them. For me, it was always about improving myself, and not because I thought there was something wrong with me or who I was, what I was, but because for me, that's what life's about, learning and growing. But anyway, now I've gone on long enough. If you're on your own weight loss journey and you remember nothing else from this video, just remember 3 things. Focus on balanced nutrition, find exercises you actually enjoy, and adopt a mindset that'll support your goals. And then you just need to know that the small changes can lead to huge transformations when you stay consistent and believe in yourself. Look, thank you so much for watching and being a part of this journey with me. If this inspired you, please consider subscribing for more content on sustainable weight loss, mindset tips, and healthy living. Feel free to share your own story or any questions you have in the comments. Honestly, I'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, like this video if you like this video. Share it. I think someone else will too. We'll see you in the next one.